So I have made a deal, and I know enough about this episode. I've seen enough of this episode to understand.
Well, I'm lost. I don't remember it. I watched it Wednesday morning, and I'm lost. I don't know. No, I'm just kidding.
So Tyler, you're taking the lead on this.
So first things first is that basically everything goes to shit.
And this is a 3-part finale.
Everything goes to shit. Like everybody that is like talking to some like, okay, so Beast and Trish Tilby, for instance, she turns into a Sentinel. Who is the other one? I can't remember any of the specifics now. Shit, it was last Wednesday. Sorry.
Jesus Christ.
I know.
Come on.
But there was at one point they were like in Bastion's hometown because they found out where to find him.
Yeah.
I can't remember how. Whatever. I don't give a shit.
Fuck it, we're here.
Fuck it. And they got trapped by all these other Sentinels, and I can't remember how they got out of there. I think they got into the Blackbird. They do show Bastion at one point, and they see Magneto like on a big X, and he's out of commission. And Bastion talks to both Baron Zemo and Doctor Doom at different points. They're on TV screens while he's kind of laying out the next steps in his master plan and whatnot. And Val Cooper's there, and she's kind of ticked off because she didn't know everything was going to happen the way it was, and they leave her looking up at Magneto, and she's trying to like talk to him, but he's not gagged like he was at the end of last episode, but he just looks up at her, and that's the last time you see them for a while. Because then we start seeing all of these mutants in different places. One of them is Roberto and Jubilee, and they're in a mall. And, like, everybody turns into fucking Sentinels and starts chasing them and shit. And they also fucking Roberto's parents find out, or his mom finds out that he's a mutant because they have to crash into their place. I think she turns into a mutant too, his mom. I don't know. Or a Sentinel. I don't know. But yeah, they I cannot remember how they get to Bastion's hometown, who they put the spurs to give them the information. But they get to Bastion's hometown, into his home, and they're with his mom, who's calling him Sebastian, I think, and she turns into a Sentinel, and then they realize that the entire town is turned into Sentinels. So they get in the Blackbird, and they're flying off and shit, and they're just getting attacked from everywhere, and it's pretty much going to be a losing battle. Everybody's getting attacked, and everybody's just about to get fucked.
But we finally got to see Wolverine get a little shine in this episode.
Yes. Who does he have to fight? Because he stabs the fuck out of him like a bunch of times. Does it say?
I don't have that pulled up exactly.
What do you have? You said you have the synopsis.
The Wikipedia, but it's pretty basic. I mean, I'll pull up another one. Yeah. It's fine.
But there's a point where that happens with Wolverine, and he actually has a long, drawn-out thing. I can't. Yeah. Is it Bastion's mom? I don't think so.
The thing that I've seen surfacing a lot was the part where he teleports to Nightcrawler, and they shoot it.
Nightcrawler fucking fights. How the fuck did I forget that?
Him and Nightcrawler fucking team up. And but you see him teleport to Nightcrawler from Wolverine's perspective, and that was the coolest shit I've ever seen.
Well, Nightcrawler gets 3 fucking swords, and he's fighting all these Sentinels with. Dude, it's such a cool Nightcrawler moment because anybody who knows Nightcrawler knows he's really into Errol Flynn movies and swashbuckling and all that stuff. And if you ever get a chance to read, I don't know where it would be available, but Dave Cockrum and I think Chris Claremont wrote and produced a 4-issue miniseries called Nightcrawler back in the 80s. A bunch of the X-Men got their own miniseries. Wolverine, Kitty Pryde and Wolverine is one of the seminal miniseries. It's a 6-issue series, and it set the tone for X-Men comics for like years to come. It's where Wolverine and Kitty Pryde go to Japan and a whole bunch of shit ensues. Anyway, but that was really, really cool. I can't remember who it is, but somebody attacks him, and maybe it's just a random human because again, they're all in Bastion's. No, they're trying to protect Rogue in the hospital. Sorry, shit. they're trying to protect Rogue in the hospital, and somebody comes at Wolverine, and he's got his claws out, and they're flying him. You know, they got him around like a good football tackle, and so he's like flying backwards, and he's just fucking stabbing the fuck out of this Sentinel person, and it's like, okay, clearly they don't care if these humans can be turned back or whatever.
Yeah, fuck it. At this point.
But then after all this, I mean, everything is lost, dude. Everything is just fucked. Everybody is about to get fucking slaughtered en masse. Just it's about to be the Extinction event for real, right?
Mm-hmm.
So and then what? I'm not, but because this is the big part.
Because we might be all on the same wavelength, so I'm gonna hear you out.
Well, Bastion comes back to see, or I can't remember how they reveal it, but Val Cooper has released Magneto.
Yeah.
And at one point when everything is just fucked, you're just like, I remember watching this and just being like, and I'm sorry I fucked this up. I should take notes this week. But I remember just watching this and being like, what the fuck is gonna happen? Like I don't know how the fuck this could end, right? I believe Cable is in it for a good chunk.
Well, I wanted to talk about that. So Cable and his interactions with Cyclops.
He talks about how he can't stop the Master Mold.
He explains essentially what he says is no matter what, this is a canon event, basically. He says an absolute point, but it's a canon event.
Yeah, that's a perfect way to describe
it. A nexus, whatever the fuck you want to call it. It's just like, this has to happen. Because this is what leads to this. So, like, where I'm from is 300 years of war, and it's 300 years of enslavement because they use this Bastion uses this event to create the Prime Sentinels, pretty much. And we do so, and then we also find out the stuff with how
don't go past where I say Magneto was released. Okay, you do your.
Well, it also, you know what I mean? It also goes into.
I want to tell that.
It also goes into talking about the technovirus and how that Cable always plays a part in this, and it's also weird because he's older than them. It's also not his mom. It's not his mom.
There's a funny point where they're all in the Blackbird before they leave the mansion. I think it's the mansion, and to go to. I'm pretty sure the four of them, Cyclops and Jean Grey and Cable go. I can't remember if somebody else goes with them. But they all go, and they're in the Blackbird, and I think it's Jean who says, "Buckle up," and he's like, "Not funny," or Cable says, like, "Not funny,"
because he's older than them.
You're not my mom, or whatever. Yeah. It's kind of a funny moment. Is there anything else I missed?
Well, I was just gonna say that there's again Nightcrawler being just the fucking best in this episode. Was that moment with Jean, and she's talking about like I feel like I have memories of him, like I felt like I had feelings of him in the womb. I remember, it was like it was happening to me, and Nightcrawler just says, "Well, who's to say that you don't deserve to feel that way?"
Yeah.
Nightcrawler's
such a great character,
and no
matter how you slice it up,
and then him to talk about like my real mom is evil. She's trying to kill me.
That's one thing about
I've had more of an adopted family with the X-Men with Rogue. You know what I mean? That's what he's trying to lay out.
Well, this is the best part about the episode that not the best part, but I use hyperbole a lot when I describe.
So I haven't seen the whole episode, but I've seen good portions.
The point where he talks about Mystique being his mom is interesting to me because, for a long time, it wasn't even really hinted at that she might be his mom until like mid to late 90s. Well after I stopped reading. So as far as I knew, that wasn't even a thing. Yeah, they were both blue, but it you know what I mean? It wasn't. That was.
And they've
nothing.
already retconned more of that too.
Recently,
but
it was interesting because it showed me that they were willing to throw out kind of incidental Easter eggs because it's not necessarily super important to Nightcrawler's character that Mystique is his mom.
Not really,
or that she's not. Right?
It almost feels like an afterthought sometimes.
But that's what I liked about it is that they were willing to say something that was kind of like, huh? Really? Is she? Because it's been retconned, once or twice and
Well,
whatnot.
didn't even in X2 they didn't even touch on that really.
No.
He was curious.
In the comics, they didn't at all, I don't think.
He was
or in the movies,
he was
they didn't at all.
curious about her, but like it was never like he thought she was his mom.
As far as I know, currently she's his mom, and Azazel, the red dude, is his dad.
They retconned that.
Okay.
Like Mystique had immaculate conception, I guess.
Okay.
I don't know the context of it, but I just know that's something that changed.
We've
recently.
talked about this last week. Is that Nightcrawler is such a great character because of the dichotomy of his. He has such a spiritual soul of like a diehard fucking Catholic.
He's just a good friend. He's just a good dude.
But he looks like the devil.
He's the opposite of Matt Murdock.
He
looks like the devil,
You know what?
but he's positive.
You know what?
He doesn't have the Catholic guilt that Matt has.
He and Wolverine together are probably the best. If I ever had to, like, if I was ever in like a battle where I had to have two people save me, I don't even know what I'm saying.
If I'm gonna fight,
I
need two dudes to fuck somebody up,
and I can get anybody. They can be fictional.
Any universe, anytime.
But Wolverine and Nightcrawler, dude, for real. Wolverine's so badass, and Nightcrawler's so badass. Like nobody would touch me. I just stand in between them, like, all right. Cool.
Hey, don't touch me.
Hey, listen, don't go like this too far.
I got the stabby guy, and I got the poofy guy.
The poof.
The Bamfy guy. Because it's Bamf, not poof. The Bamfy guy.
The Bamfy guy.
And
I got the fuzzy guy and
schnicked guy.
and the stabby guy.
Schnicked. That's the sound they make. Schnicked.
So
I'm sorry, it's just fun to say. Say it. Say schnicked.
Snicked. It's snicked.
Schnicked.
No.
Snicked. Snicked.
SNIKT.
Snicked.
Snicked.
Schnicked.
Well, no, you're right. In Mallrats, I hate being that fucking guy.
Let's just move on.
No.
I want to. We don't need to be that guy.
Because off topic.
I'm gonna knock you out.
So in Mallrats.
No.
Yes.
No.
We're gonna fucking do this.
Fuck Mallrats.
You find the goddamn
Fuck
thing.
you.
In Mallrats.
Why? No.
Because he says schnickty, schnickty, schneid, and that always bugged me. Because I was like, it's not schnickty, you douche.
Take it up with fucking Kevin Smith.
I have. He won't return my phone calls.
I wonder why.
Well.
Is it schnicked or snicked? You got a snickers?
My ears.
Why did they ever capitalize on that? Snickers and Wolverine.
Is that what's
Snickers?
is that onomatopoeia when it's something like bam and like crunch?
Sound effects.
Yeah. Like
Chomp.
the Batman, right?
Yeah.
Like buckow.
Crack. What the fuck
Zap.
are we doing? What are we doing?
Ziff.
This is why I'm.
So then we see that Magneto's been released.
I really thought you were gonna start talking about Mallrats.
No, we already did that.
So
we see
Magneto
that
lets
Magneto,
off a giant EMP.
dude. No. He like you see him and he's like it's fucking crazy. Like
He's got his wang out.
They're while he's moving up, they show like flashbacks of him like being released by Val and him and her talking and stuff, and he's looking at his arm with the number on it from the fucking concentration camp and shit, and it's just such a powerful moment, and he gets to where he needs to be up at the North Pole. And I guess in EMP, I took it to mean that I took it that he was reversing the poles, which, contrary to popular belief, has happened more than once in human history. So all of you who are like,
oh no, I viewed it as a legitimate like a pulse, like a legitimate EMP.
What I read articles afterwards said in EMP, and that makes more sense because then we see like a bunch of
cameos.
The one cameo I remember is Spider-Man, but the one cameo the one thing that was really huge was Silver Samurai in Japan, which is like, why are we seeing him, right?
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get a Wolverine storyline in season 2, which would be kind of cool, or a Wolverine cartoon, like a really fucking graphic Wolverine cartoon, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but that always had,
Anyway.
that had to be his own thing.
But then they showed a secret base somewhere where there's a dude inside a tank under full guard, and we just locked the electricity that's been keeping him asleep. And guess who that motherfucker is? Omega Red.
Whoa.
Right? And he starts like his carbonadium things start wiggling and shit. And he opens his eyes. And that's all we see. And then I can't remember who says it at the end, but he says, I think it's Wolverine. And he goes, I never thought he'd do it. And they're like, what? And he said, declare war. Or I never thought Magneto would declare war. And that's the end of the episode.
Yeah, it's a 3-parter, so I'm gonna definitely have to watch all of it and catch up, and then watch episode. Back to back.
This has never really happened in the comics before. There have been issues with like Avengers versus X-Men, and then I didn't read any of the Avengers X-Men Eternals shit because honestly, they were trying to hype up the Eternals movie more than anything. I don't even know. I know there's repercussions still in the Marvel universe from that storyline, but to me,
are you talking about Axe? Avengers, X-Men, Eternals?
Yeah, it was recent. Yeah. I don't. I now people were talking about the gearing up for Onslaught. I wasn't reading comics at that time, or it was at the tail end of when I stopped. Do you know who Onslaught is?
Yeah,
it's the psychic. Yeah, it's whatever.
It's hard to explain. I know what it is, but
well, then what happened is all these Marvel heroes died. And that's where they got the Heroes Reborn shit. Do you remember that? Where Rob Liefeld like did his own Captain America, and he had that horrible fucking
big old titties, and
you know what I'm talking about, right?
Hey, how long was it before from titties till when I said 29 minutes?
I don't fucking know. Wait, were we just trying not to say titties? Because that's easy.
Oh, I don't know when we started.
I can
saying
go days without saying titties.
Can you?
No,
because you just fucking did it there.
Titties.
Titty.
Wow. We're disgusting. Anyway,
you got that right.
We're not. We're basically 12-year-old kids.
Hey man, come on.
We're
fucking done. Xavier.
What was I talking about?
X-Men. Xavier.
I've never seen this like in the comics where like Magneto does something like this in the context of being on the X-Men side, and also in the respect that like, you know, it's Rogue has been kind of, I mean, her name in the comics has always kind of been, you know, hey, I'll do my own thing, but she's generally a team player with the X-Men. She's one of the core members of the X-Men. She has been for a long, long time. And it's just when she dropped Trask, justified or not, it's not something that the X-Men take lightly. You know what I mean? And you know, Wolverine be damned. It's not.
I mean, that's just Wolverine. Wolverine kills people.
Exactly,
so,
right.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying is I am so fucking hooked into this show because it is exploring an aspect of the Marvel universe that I've never seen in the comics. So almost every single storyline from almost every single Marvel movie or DC movie has been loosely adapted from something else, right? Yeah. A lot of the storylines so far in this first season have been loosely adapted from other things, other aspects of the X-Men continuity or the Marvel universe, right?
That was what the original show was too. Yeah.
Is fucking breaking new ground. I could be wrong, and I'm sure somebody will tell me in the comments, which is fine, because I do want to be, if I'm wrong, I want to know about it, because I can't remember. I don't think there has been a time where like everybody was just against the X-Men and Magneto's like on their side. Even when Magneto was headmaster of the school back in the late 80s, there was a tenuous piece between the X-Men and the rest of the superhero world in the Marvel comics. Magneto was a good guy. It's just, you know, I don't know. This is fucked up because now Magneto, I mean, now he's fucked up with everybody, dude. Like, I mean, if Iron Man's flying somewhere, he's dead. You know what I mean? I mean, right?
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like,
well, and
this is so exciting because of that. I've never seen or experienced this, at least as far as I know.
I'm sure we'll know more at some point, but I wish we had some sort of context to what happened with Bo DeMeo in Marvel and all that, because this show has just been
fucking bonkers.
Unbelievably good.
Yeah.
And so much better than I could have ever imagined. And again, I didn't have I'm coming into it. I'm a relatively new X-Men. Like, I wouldn't say reader. I would say someone who just understands the X-Men lore and stuff like that. But like, to just see how and know enough about the X-Men and know enough about these characters that like I get emotionally attached to them, and like how well he's been asking. Like, he broke his silence a couple weeks ago, and it wasn't even about what happened with Marvel. He was just talking about the show. And
well, they probably told
how
him
the running theme has always been we as a society always have a something like this, and it's a big point of, I don't even know how to describe it other than there's always
a tipping point,
strife with civil rights, and we're always seeing it for different minority groups. We're still dealing with the repercussions of terrible Jim Crow laws and things of the civil rights. We're still dealing with that. Trans people are fighting every day for their rights. Gay people are fighting for their rights.
Survival.
Fucking women are fighting for their rights in this country. And like, the themes that this show is touching on, hitting on, are so...
Oh, it's
so
on
relevant,
fucking
and
point,
it's
dude.
and
On point.
And of course it. And like I said last week, it. This is the thing with the X-Men, though. It always ends badly. It never ends well. It never is. You want to hope that it ends well, but we're also like at this point in this of like, this is so bad that Xavier left fucking his space girlfriend, space wife, to come back. Because he's like, oh shit, this is way worse than I thought it was going to be. And then you also have Magneto sending off this giant EMP saying, all right, motherfuckers, I try to give you a chance, and now I'm going to kill you.
The very, very last thing of the episode is this Char ship crashes into the grounds, I think, at the mansion, and everybody's back in the mansion.
And that's when he's, to me, my X-Men.
Yes,
yeah.
So that's the very end of the episode. Yeah, man. I think, which is funny, because when I was growing up reading, month to month, every, for 7, 9, 10 years, whatever it was, from 82 or 3 to 92, and then again, like, I got all of the 70s shit through that classic X-Men comic, so I somehow was able to fit almost the entirety of Chris Claremont's run. Like, as it happened, almost
all 17 years.
Well, because like I said, like one month or 1 week during the month, I'd be reading the new X-Men comic, which would be Claremont.
I mean, X-Men
and then
blew up in the late 80s.
And then the next week,
90s.
I'd read classic X-Men, which was like an issue from him and John Byrne back in the 70s. And they started with the...
Well, that's true. It blew up with Giant Size. Giant Size X-Men was like the beginning of the Claremont and like the modern what we know of the X-Men.
I believe it was Len Wein and Dave Cocker.
Yeah, technically it was Len Wein for a while, and then it was Claremont after that.
Right. And so, okay, so do you know about so the X-Men was one of the most unpopular Marvel comics, like of all the classic ones. Like, we're talking Spider-Man, Thor, Fantastic Four, Avengers, all that, right? That was like the most unpopular. It was cool for a while, but it did not have legs. And so I believe 57 issues, were made, and then they stopped it. They canceled it. And then they started doing reprints in the early 70s, and that I think that garnered a little bit of interest, and that's when they did Giant Size X-Men #1, and then they picked up with like number 60 or whatever the next issue was. But for a long time, there was no X-Men, like, at all. It was just reprints, if that.
Well, yeah, there was a point, too, where they were really trying to push the Immortals because they didn't have Fox had the rights to the X-Men, so they were kind of like trying to push the Immortals and devalue the X-Men and... Or, sorry, Inhumans, yeah. And so, like, and then Hickman shows up and there's the whole Hoxpox and all that. But that's something.
That shit was crazy.
Yeah, but anyway,
I can't wait for us to go through the Sins of Sinister.
Yeah, we're never doing that book because
it's not a book; it's an event.
It's a fucking
event.
And let me tell you something, Tyler. I want to tell you something right now. When I read this event, I better not be sitting all the way on my couch. I better be on the edge of it.
On the edge of it.
All right.
Yeah, I'm very, very excited for where it's going.
Me too. These next 2 episodes are going to be fucking
Don't get me started
crazy.
talking about the X-Men. I'll talk your ear off.
Don't let me get started.
Don't let me get started. Off panel, off topic with Jake and Tyler.